Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we are on episode 48 of Evolve, one short of the season finale, which is next week, and then we get Secession 2 after that. So it's a pretty loaded time for Evolve's history. This is probably going to be one of those things where it kind of felt like they were going to put like a filler card in here, but it actually ended up working out pretty decent. I think mainly with the promos, but we'll go into everything and talk about all of this. I'm pretty sure I had it in order. I hate when my photos send from my phone to this, and then they get out of order because I had it perfectly, and then now I'm like, did that happen then? I'm pretty sure, but whatever. It's still more of the talking than the order necessarily. So let's start off. As I just realized, where's the Brooks Jensen match? Oh no, that's okay. That's Dante Chen one. I was like about to say, I'm like, man, what did I miss something? But no, we're good. So we started off with Nikita Lyons and Ariana Grace talking backstage. Now, this is the one problem that they've had since the beginning, but being 4 weeks behind, with Ariana Grace not having the TNA championship, which obviously they wouldn't have done that because there could have been spoilers and all that, but it made it seem very weird that she just won the title and she's not wearing it. So, like, people who don't know that the show's filmed behind are like, she's just straight up not wearing the TNA title. Like, yeah, that's the small details that kind of go into like them being so far back that they just don't really think about. Which I was like, man, if somehow Ariana Grace gets pinned tonight, that would even be crazier. But luckily that didn't happen. But good promo to start off the show, and nothing really too crazy. Nikita Lyons and Ariana Grace make a good tag team, but Ariana Grace is the TNA Knockouts champion, and she's on a show that's below NXT, is not very good for TNA right now. So I expect that we won't see Ariana Grace here for much longer. If not, like, this is her last appearance, depending on filming and stuff. So I put this in a solid C. It wasn't anything too special, but it wasn't anything too bad. Then we get to Chewy Martinez in the ring, which I will want to point out, they did have a sponsorship in the middle of the ring, the General Insurance, so that's kind of cool that they seem to be getting a few more eyes on them. If you hate it, love it with the ring like advertisement, you can't deny that that's not a good sign to see that there somebody out there being like, I want to advertise on this show because there's enough eyes on it. Plus, more money going into the show means that the show will stay around and that they will spend some more time looking at it, because I think this cream of the crop that came from this first round of people going to NXT, I think we're going to be way more solid than any of the LFG people. And that, for that reasoning in particular, they'll probably want to invest more time in this show. But basically for the segment, we had the champion, Kendall Gray, and PJ Voss to come down to do the contract signing, which ended up into a brawl. Nothing too crazy. Contract signings are kind of like that. They pretty much either sign it and it's boring as hell, or it ends up in a brawl. I feel like there needs to be a few different things to make it like, oh my god, that's crazy or amazing or something. But it served its purpose. I'll put it up and see anytime I get to see Kendall Gray. It's a good thing. Then we had a pretty good promo for Cappuccino Jones, talking about that he's going after Jackson Drake and going for the title. I really want him to win here. I really think this will be just, it needs to happen. I mean, he obviously is the ID champion, so that's also cool, and he could be doing double defenses because he's still going around defending the ID championship. So I think putting the Evolve belt on him would also be a really good idea. Obviously, I think it could very possibly not necessarily happen with both people, but I think that because both Jackson Drake got the official call up, Kendall Gray didn't, so she might be here a little bit longer, but I feel like there could be a good shot that both titles flip. This Cappuccino Jones promo put up an A. He was solid. Then we had Dante Chen versus Brooks Jensen. It's kind of a weird match that they always have Dante Chen as the measuring stick of Evolve, but he literally almost loses about half of his matches. It's kind of a terrible monogram, and they really should be letting him take on people that like are fresh. You know, like, I would have somebody who's debuting like a brand new guy go against Dante Chen. Dante Chen wins, and then after the guy's had a couple other matches, then he goes against Dante Chen again and then beats him. Then that would really make the measuring stick fade work. If he's going against Brooks Jensen, who's really an established star, it just kind of doesn't really fit the mold that they kind of seemed like they were trying to do with him. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just their way of, trying to make him interesting. But I feel like you could actually make him interesting by doing it the way that they actually should be doing the gimmick and stuff. But I guess we'll see. The match itself was nothing too crazy. It had a solid 8 minutes, so I think that's at least good that they had some good time to do some stuff. I wasn't any, nothing that made me feel like, oh God, this is amazing. Like I need to watch this ever again type of thing. So I'll put it in C. Then we had a pretty good promo with Wendy Chu. Obviously, she's been, a face ever since she's changed from her dark and spooky gimmick. I think it's good, and she's really good on the mic. I think it's a good change. I think for her being in Evolve and being in NXT and all of that for such a long time, that she really needs to have like, um, something really work out. And I think this is her kind of last chance for it to. And I think just letting her do what she hopefully does best, hopefully will make her a little bit more over. I mean, I really think that the call really would have been for Secession to have it Wendy Chu, Callie Armstrong, and Kendall Gray. I think that would have been your most star power match, and maybe they'll get that, after Secession. But I think that would have been your match, your title match, because then if Callie or Wendy Chu wins, they're two mega stars in Evolve that really would have pushed it forward. So Kendall could have gone to NXT. So I'll put this promo. She did pretty good in B. I wouldn't be. It wasn't bad. Then we had Drake Monroe versus Itzgal. Honestly, a little surprised that Itzgal took the loss here because it felt like another one of those matches that, it's 50-50. Like, you kind of want Itzgal to win and continue being, like, kind of like a pretty decent person that they're building by getting some matches and stuff. But then Drake Monroe is also undefeated, so it was like probably not the best matchup to put between them. I think it's overall kind of just a decent match. I think it's kind of crazy with Drake Monroe's finisher. I've always like meant to say it, and all the other times that this has happened is that moan thing that he does. I just yeah, I don't think I can ever really get behind that. Like that just is a weird thing to have as his gimmick. I know it's kind of supposed to be like for Waterboy, being like a Gator Boy and all that type of stuff. But Waterboy did come out like almost 30 years ago, so I think for the general, you know, younger crowd, it's never gonna get over, and for the older crowd, I don't think it's like that big of a thing to really to base a whole like finishing move off of because other than that it's just a regular move that he's using. I thought the match was solid. I'll put it in C. It definitely, deserved to be on the card. I just would have maybe not had this matchup or gave him just a little bit more time to install mainly just to get a little bit more offense in, which they definitely could have used by cutting something here or there. Then after the match, Team PC came and talked to Drake Monroe trying to recruit them because they're 2 men down. They're gonna have a 5-man or 10-man tag next week between the two teams again, which I do like that they're doing that. I think they could have waited a little bit longer, and the majority of the people that might be in this match, not the majority, but there's a good portion of it that won't, be on the roster for longer. Kind of felt a little bit pointless. That could have been really the thing. I think Team PC's a little bit better because if they get Drake Monroe and if they get somebody else, they could really it will be like all guys staying. But on the other side, three out of the five are already up to NXT, so it's like not really highlighting anything. If he joins, I think it'll be a good choice. I don't know. He kind of went off like that he might not, but we'll see. I could definitely see him randomly joining Team ID or something, but depending on how the Vanity Project, if they actually show up or not. I'll put it in B. It was at least some compelling story that they're trying to do. And then obviously we had a Team ID looking for members themselves, and they were looking at, you know, adding the Vanity Project. That was the other thing. It's like they did this match as a 10-man tag match, but neither team had 5 men, so like they really could have just made it a 6-man. And I know that they're trying to do it for the storyline, but it's just like for logically, both teams would probably just agree that a 6-man's fine because they both had 3-on-3. So I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing that both teams shouldn't have been looking for people. If one team was, it would have made more sense. This is fine. I mean, obviously, getting to see Sean Legacy, Jackson Drake, and all them again on this card or on the show is always good. We won't see them for much longer. I think after Secession, they're all of these guys that got called up will be cleared out. Kiana Carver already is completely gone, and I could see the rest of them finishing out their storylines and getting up there. And then we had a good promo of Callie Armstrong saying that, she didn't need Wendy Chu's help because they've been feuding. I like this feud. It's just been a feud that they've gone back and forth with for a while now. And it kind of seems like, maybe Callie's kind of hinting to be on that heel type. And then obviously Wendy being the face. So it's a little bit different from what they've normally had between each other. So I got no problem with it. It's a decent match type, like, or matchup. And they've had some good chemistry in the ring. So it might be a little redundant, but I'm cool with it. So I'll put this at B. Then we get to the main event. It was Nikita Lyons and Ariana Grace versus Layla Diggs and Mason Holiday. Now, honestly, there is just one move that really stands out for this entire match. The most of the rest of this match would really be on that borderline, like C minus, like really forgettable main event until Layla Diggs did that backwards like kick. I'm not describing it great, but if you look it up, it is absolutely just a great move. Now, this is what I said. Like, Layla Dix had one of these moves, or a type of move, like, I want to say her second or first match, and it was nasty, and it was such a good move, and then she never brought it back out. And now she brings out this, and it's like, Layla, if you got this move set, this should come out every single match. I don't know if it's just difficult for you to do or somebody's telling you to hold it back, but please don't, because if you do this, she might be one of the most talented and just like awe-gazing person on the roster right now, because other than like Kendall Gray's like a dragging armbar that looks just nasty and like shows so much force, this might be one of the better moves that they have in the entire roster. Like, this is crazy that she just pulls it out every once in a while, like, oh, I'm just gonna do this, cheeky feint real fast. But it did save the match. I'm gonna put it up in B because of that one feint. I feel like saved it. It literally, if we would have had like that and maybe like one more other move that she would have pulled off, she could have easily brought this whole feint up. Like, if we're just doing individual grades, I'd have her almost in S tier because she did great. Everybody else did okay, and I think that kind of was the problem here. Now, Layla Diggs will get kind of stuck in this tag team if she can't do moves like this all the time, because that's the problem. Like, in Evolve, you got a very limited time. Like, you might have between 2 to maybe 5 minutes sometimes on the tag team to show off what you got. So you really got to do something that like people are like, oh shit, like this person's great, because obviously the tag team gives you more opportunities on television, but if it's not serving both people, it just doesn't really work out. I kind of feel like this tag team's similar to that if Layla Diggs can continue as, and maybe she can. Maybe this is she can just do it every once in a while. I just don't understand it, because I would be spamming these moves to really show off what I could do, and I think she would be like towards that top of that card in like no time. Then we finish off the show with Tate Wilder. Now, normally this is my time to put him down in D, but I'll actually give him some props here. I think he, ever since he's kind of gotten rid of like the whole like I'm just a straight cowboy, I think he's gotten better and more sustainable, because that's the thing with the gimmick. Like, it's okay to be like a cowboy country guy and like talking about it, but if you're just a straight up cowboy, it's just so overplayed. But like with him, it's just like, yeah, I'm kind of country. I'm gonna go handle my business and all that. And I think him doing that and dialing it back a little bit, I think is really working out, because he just has a decent, time on the mic. He's an ultra baby face. He's gonna be the special guest referee for the 10-man tag match, which I think is a good touch, because I think there'll be some shenanigans with that, because obviously he could all of a sudden turn on somebody if they want, or he could sit there and call it down the middle, which will definitely piss off Team PC. So I think there's definitely some good things from it. I like what he said. I mean, I think he was pretty straight to the point, and if he continues doing stuff like that, he has a decent moveset from that last match that he just absolutely just went off on, which he never has done. Maybe he's starting to look and like do that stuff, and maybe at one point we could root for Tate Wilder here. But I'll put it in an A. I think it was the best segment of the entire show, which is sad and good at the same time because it's like, hey, at least he's not doesn't have his own category. I'd probably put the show just kind of a middle, like B minus. Uh, I wasn't particularly fond of any of the matches, like so crazy, like that. I'd be like, oh, this is a signature show or anything. I think it served its purpose. I do think it was like a lot better than a lot of those like go to like a season finale type thing where it's like doesn't feel like they've done anything, but like this one feels pretty solid of being like oh yeah, we got a nice storyline, we got some stuff going into the season finale, we got some stuff going into the secession because we pretty much have the next 2 weeks planned out. Maybe next week we'll have 3 matches, but I really think it's only going to be two. It's going to be the 10-man, and it's going to be Callie Armstrong versus Wendy Chu. So that's going to be a pretty solid card. And then the week afterwards, we have Secession. That's going to be the 2 title matches. And then Brooks Jensen versus Tate Wilder, I think. I think that was the match. It's Brooke Jensen versus somebody. I thought it was Tate, but um, overall, that's a pretty decent, thing going forward with different stuff. So I think it's in good hands, and I'm really excited to see the next 2 weeks. Tell me if you guys have been enjoying the show and all that, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.